Republican side, any members over the last couple of days that have come to you guys calling for a bipartisan compromise or looking to work with you on that?
There have been ongoing informal conversations that have been undertaken over the last few days. I think there's a possibility those can accelerate now that Jim Jordan clearly does not have the votes to be Speaker. There are many good men and women on the Republican side of the aisle who are qualified to be the Speaker of the House of Representatives. There is no circumstance where Jim Jordan is one of them.
No circumstance where Jim Jordan's one of those people. Many times I would assume some of those people maybe aren't qualified just because they haven't been there very long. But I think the first qualification has to be you're not so entrenched in the corruption that you think things work the way that you didn't originally plan. I feel like so many folks run into office, eventually get elected, and then lose the whole reason why they even got there in the first place. Because there's a system in place, and there's certain things that you do, rules that you follow, and objectives, which don't have many things to do with legislating and actually bettering the lives of American people. Let's go this side here before you jump one more time in, Adrienne. Because also, one more thought from another Republican, Jamie Raskin, wonders, so what's the next step as well from our side as to who might they get behind? Because Republicans seem to be everywhere. Democrats are solid. How do we come to a conclusion, though? Maybe another bipartisan solution. Let's hear what Jamie has to say.
I've said from the beginning, there are a number of Republicans that I could support on a principled power sharing basis, assuming that our caucus were to endorse that. And we operate as a caucus. We're not out there wheeling and dealing on our own. But one of the things that I've said from the beginning is Liz Cheney would be a perfect choice herself. She was the chair of the Republican conference. She was the number 3 Republican for several years while we were here, a very conservative Republican, but she believes in the constitutional order. And so we trust her. Mitt Romney is another name that has been floated as someone who we could trust. Angus King, who's the independent from Maine, is another person that we could look at. And a lot of my colleagues, Chris, come from states where there have been state legislative power sharing arrangements where gavels are shared, half of the committees to one side, half to the other side. The parties can take turns holding the gavel during the week. It would be a very positive thing for us.
I guess conspiracy theory number 2 from me, Adrienne. Jamie Raskin's putting forward some names. Those names seem like it's right down the middle across the aisle, even mostly Republicans, obviously all Republicans, I think, I remember telling all the names, but ones that Republicans, specifically MAGA Republicans, would be like pulling their hair out over. He knows these aren't viable folks when it comes to these other Republicans in office. So at the same time, while Democrats stand united and are pointing out how they can legislate and Republicans can't, they're also reveling in this and potentially extending it by putting forth some thoughts like this, because there's no way they'd want anything to do with any of these folks. And matter of fact, maybe it's a good tactic because they'll explain how they don't want anything to do with anyone that has said anything moderate because they're radicals. And I think that's the point Raskin's trying to make. Maybe I'm crazy. What do you think?
No, I don't think you're crazy at all. I think Raskin is, he's reaching out somewhat of an olive branch. He's saying we're willing and open to certain Republican voices, but there are individuals we are unwilling to have as our leader. And those are those who were involved in any way in the insurrection or in any way kind of bolstered the big lie. And I think that that's completely and totally reasonable. And so for the Republicans to be unwilling to meet the Democrats there, it really shows that they're the ones who are unwilling to end this whole stay of not having a speaker. They're willing to hold that up. And that's a them issue.
How much, just in your opinion, obviously we don't know. Do you think that's like from Raskin, Liz Cheney, Mitt Romney? Come on, bro. No way, no way. And by the way, Mitt Romney ran for president not too long ago. Leader of the Republican Party. It makes sense in a way, even though, again, Mitt Romney is not in the House. Am I wrong? I'm making sure that's Senator Mitt Romney.
Part of me is like, it's a job and it's going to require a lot of work. So whoever does it, I want them to be organized, diligent, and less nonsense. That would be great.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.